Welcome to this February 28th meeting of Devonport City Council. Council acknowledge and pay respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional and regional owners and continuing custodians of this land that we create. All persons in attendance are advised that it is council policy to record council meetings in accordance with council's digital recording policy. The digital recording of this meeting will be made available to the public on council's website for a minimum period of 6 months. And a reminder that the meeting is also being live streamed on council's YouTube channel. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies. And we have Item 2 is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest in any item on this agenda?
Yes, you do, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I was declaring interest in item 4.1 in the agenda. I am known to the developer. I have had no commercial dealings with the developer. I do work in the real estate industry and I will not be leaving the room.
Thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest? No? Move on to item 3, and item 3.1 is the confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion for those?
Second.
Councillor Perry, Councillor Murphy. Are there any comments?
No, new procedural, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
I agree with Councillor Perry.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? In that case, I'll ask Councillor Perry to close.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? The motion is carried unanimously. Item 3.2 is public question time, and item 3.2.1 is the responses to questions raised at prior meetings. And we have a recommendation for those responses, please.
So moved.
Councillor Holster, thank you. A seconder.
You do, Mayor.
Councillor Laycock, thank you. And comment, Councillor Holster.
Nothing further to add, that's all in the report.
Thank you, Councillor Laycock.
Nothing to add.
Anyone else? Any comments, questions? No? Councillor Holster to close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 3.2.2 are questions on notice from the public, and we have a recommendation for those responses. Do I have a move, please?
So moved.
So Holster, thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Councillor Levin, thank you. Councillor Holster, any comments?
Nothing further to add. Questions are there and the responses, so.
Thank you. Councillor Levin,
I'm done.
any other comments, questions? I'll ask Councillor Holster to close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 3.2.3 is questions without notice from the public, which is the opportunity of those in the gallery who may wish to ask a question about council business. It's the opportunity to step forward, say your name and address, and asking your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Rockcliffe. My name's Douglas Janney, 23 Watkinson Street, Devonport. Wright Street cycle tracks. Tassport has released a plan for the development of the Devonport Port. When is the council going to remove the cycle tracks on Wright Street and at Tasport's expenses?
We'll take that on notice. Thank you, Mr. Janney.
Righto. Second question. Should there be an item in an agenda and all the councillors have a declaration of interest, how would that item be handled
There is a process under the Local Government Act, and I ask the General Manager to perhaps fill you in on it.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, there is a section in the Act that outlines how council is to handle that situation should it arise. I think it's through special permission from the Minister to proceed with the meeting. So initially it is adjourned and then permission needs to be sought from the Local Government Minister to consider the item. So there is a process for those situations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jane.
Rodney Russell, 225 Steel Street, Devonport. I see where yourself, Madam Mayor, and another person were photographed standing beside newly erected garbage bins in front of our very elegant regional gallery and town hall theatre. Question: could you have put the garbage bins beside the bus shelters on the other side of the road where all the garbage appears to be collecting?
I guess the answer is it could have been, but I'm sure that our staff have investigated very carefully with the best place for us to place our bins, and I'm understanding that there are more still to be put in place.
Thank you. I see that you are to do an upgrade of the William Street Middle Road roundabout. Question: have you in your planning been able to improve upon the present two pedestrian crossing layout, which at times can cause a bottleneck?
Mr. Sterling, would you like to respond to that, please?
Yes, through you, Mayor. So certainly the pedestrian crossings that are utilised as part of the school crossing arrangement are included and incorporated into the scope of works. They will be retained. There isn't going to be a crossing though installed directly on the southern side of that roundabout, if that's the basis of the question.
No, but you're basically keeping the two the same. Thank you. Splash 25-metre indoor pool has had a tile failure. Question: is the repair covered by any warranty when originally constructed, or will the repair be covered by council's insurance?
Through you, Mayor, the repairs will be council's expense, and should they trigger an insurance claim to be over the excess, then we will explore that option, but I don't believe they will be, so it'll be just a maintenance item.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell?
Right. Trevor Smith, 7 Glen Court, Devonport. Dear Mayor, before submitting my questions, could I have written replies to my questions rather than have verbal answers? It has been stated in the media at the end of January 2022, councils around Tasmania were strongly encouraged by the Premier to ban the use of jumping castles and all balls. When council has made the decision to ban jumping castles and all balls on council property, both Launceston and Glenorchy councils, which are larger in size than Devonport, have also made the same decision. Why has the Devonport Council been lagging behind to make a decision on this issue? Surely the ratepayers of Devonport are entitled to know your decision immediately after this tragedy happened in December 2000.
Mr. Smith, we have already made that call. I'll ask the manager to clarify. We did it very discreetly, I guess.
There's nothing in the media.
No.
Yes, certainly through you, Mayor. The decision, if any request has been made for any exhaust balls or jumping castles on council land, we wouldn't be approving those at this point, whilst the investigation into Hillcrest is continuing. So, yes, we didn't make a big deal of that or do it through the media, but certainly that's the position of council, that we wouldn't be allowing
It's
those.
been notified on
those
the
activities
ABC
on,
radio and that they're winged and that there. So
Mr. Smith, you asked a question.
yes, I'm just saying.
And the question will be responded to
Right.
in writing as you requested. Did you have a second question?
Right, with regard to your reply to my question from last month's agenda about the footpath crossover points at the front of Energy Point at 142 Don Road and at the front of Taxi Combined at 143 Don Road, your reply was very non-transparent to the ratepayers of Devonport. Your engineers are paid at least over $100,000 a year.
Did you have a question?
It is coming, right? Your workforce should have followed your workforce would have followed the engineer's instructions that was where it is. Why couldn't it have been located at least 10 to 20 metres further up the road? How many other blunders like this have been happened?
Mr. Smith, if you're going to ask a question, then ask it.
Well, is it going to be moved up further?
Is that your question? You asked for it to be responded to in writing, and that's what we will do. Thank you.
Right, next one. I sent four questions on notice on the 9th of the 2nd, 2022 to be replied to in the agenda for tonight's meeting on 28th of the 2nd, 2022. Did you receive my email, and if yes, why have they not been answered in the agendas for tonight's ordinary meeting? The questions were all different from what I have asked before the council.
I understand the answer will be no, because it will be out there.
Well, I've got a copy here where it was sent. The council and all the aldermen.
I can't answer the question is, did we receive?
So I do send it again, send it again?
Absolutely.
Right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Yes,
Oh, Mr. Beaufort.
thank you. Commissioner, take the mask off. Bob Vellicott, ratepayer. My questions tonight, Mayor, refer to page 6 of this evening's agenda about my questions on notice, requesting basic details in regard to any court actions being taken against or by council and the given response. The actual question asked was, as of this date, 21st of February 2022, please provide any basic details that are permitted to be given in regard to all, if any, court actions that are being taken against or by council. And the response authored by the General Manager was, legal matters, if any, in which council are involved are not for public disclosure. Mayor, if as the General Manager informs legal matters, if any, in which council are involved are not for public disclosure, then will you now please explain why council issued a media release about a legal matter, why the information given by council that contained details in regard to Charlotte Jack Proprietary Limited alleged non-payment of utility supply charges, which was published under the heading Ugly Legal Stoush in the Advocate of the 24th of November 2021. Also, why council confirmed they had received a letter from Mr Milburn's solicitor seeking damages from council due to the failure of Charlotte Jack Proprietary Limited. On the one hand, I've been told that you can't disclose, and yet in the paper there it is in board headlines.
Well, that was a decision of council. Mr. Belcock?
Sorry?
That was a decision of council. Did you have another question?
Well, yes, to follow on that, but I hadn't prepared. So it's up there. You are permitted.
I've already answered your question. I've answered your question.
No, I'm asking another question. Thank you.
Well, in that
So
case,
in that case, that means that council has to give, the full council has to give permission.
I've answered your question, Mr. Belcock. Did you have another question?
No, I haven't, but
Okay, thank you.
but you haven't really. I'm still confused, and I think there's plenty others that
I'm
are
sorry you're
confused.
confused. I believe I've answered your question.
Well, my other question is, how do we get that information?
Yes, through you, Mayor. I think that Mr. Vellicott's, the answer to Mr. Vellicott's question is quite clear, that any council legal matters aren't for public disclosure unless council decides otherwise.
No, you haven't got to decide otherwise. It categorically states that legal matters, if any, in which council are involved are not for public disclosure, full stop.
And that's true. And I've answered your question, Mr. Vellicott. If you've got another question, I'll ask you to please seated, please.
So we will never,
Thank you,
we will
Mr.
never know.
Any other questions? Item 3.3 is questions on notice on council, and there weren't any at the agenda. Item 3.4, we don't have any notices of motion. Item 4 is planning authority matters, and I now announce that council intends to act as a planning authority under the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act of 1993 for the consideration of agenda item 4.1. Council is required by Regulation 8.3 of the Local Government Rules and Procedures, Regulations of 2015, to deal with items as a planning authority under the Rule of 1993 in a sequential manner. And the following item is to be dealt with at this meeting of council in its capacity as a planning authority. And I note that Councillor Murphy has declared an interest in possible perceived interest in this item on the agenda. However, he intends to maintain his presence in the room as part of today. Item 4.1 is AM 2021.02 8681 Street, Devonport rezoning application. Do I have a mover, please? I apologise. Yes, the recommendation includes that the planning authority, and the first part says agree to certify an amendment being 56A Gun Street. However, you will note that on any other place that address is given, it is actually 86A Gun Street. So that has been put in the proposed amendments as demonstrated on the screen. Given that change compared to what we have on our screens, thank you, Ms. Seated. So let's put it to the screen up there. Do I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Perry and Councillor Hollister. Thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, this particular parcel of land hasn't been vacant. I mean, it's been used for various purposes, but we have known for a long time that there has been interest in creating a high-quality housing development on that piece of land. In my opinion, the two things I need to ask is that a good spot for a housing development? The concepts that we've seen of is it a good spot? And the answer to that is yes. And the other question is, what other purpose could we use such a large-scale piece of land or a large property like that if someone of this quality was not to come along and do something that we've seen in the concepts. It's important to note that tonight we're just recommending a rezoning application, not actually a development proposal. The council has seen concept drawing at workshops and other meetings, so we're aware of the kind of amenity that is being mooted for the property, and I think it fits in perfectly with those concepts. It's a large infill area in the city. It's flat, and the potential to provide a lot of housing, a lot of quality housing, various types of housing, and associated facilities that go with it in that space lends itself to, I think, the perfect rezoning, but a rezoning that will make it more fit for purpose and give the community something that we can be proud of, I'm sure. And I reiterate that it's just a rezoning. Obviously the development application has to follow, and that has to meet certain criteria, and the public will be interested in that and will scrutinise that. But tonight, here and now, we're just considering the rezoning of it, so that the next step can take place. So I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Councillor Hollister.
Yes, this is rezoned from recreation to general residential zone, and it inserts a specific area plan. I think this is a good step along the way for some further residential redevelopment in Devonport, and it's highly needed. So I fully support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor John.
Thank you. Look, I certainly think that this will be a great rezoning, especially for the community of Devonport. We need it. A lot of people are confused out there. We don't own the land. It's between the show society and the developer. And the developers just approached us the normal process. But I do have a question in relation to this. If this doesn't go ahead, if this actual development itself doesn't go ahead, do we just keep with that rezoning for if someone wanted to come along and purchase the land instead? Or do we have it open for someone to develop it to something else? How does that work, I suppose, is my question through you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, through you there. So the rezoning is effectively an amendment to the planning scheme. So should this be passed, the zone will change to the new zone that's proposed here. So it's an amendment, and then once that's in place, it will apply to any future developments, regardless of who the developer was.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Hollister, did you have a question?
Sorry.
No? I'll ask Councillor Perry to close the vote.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, just reiterate what I said earlier. The showgrounds is a place where I spent a lot of my time as a youth, but time passes and things change, and we're now at that stage where that's perfectly situated and suited for the development that we think might happen there, and tonight is the next step in that process. So I commend the recommendation and hope council will support it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried unanimously. Item 5.1 is appointment of municipal emergency management roles. Is there a recommendation here for us to?
So moved.
Second.
Councillor Murphy, John, Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, the report's very detailed. Obviously, we've got some high calibre people in the current roles, and I can see the people that have been nominated for those positions will continue that. I think the work that's been done by Karen Stone through the COVID pandemic, and then the last tragedy we had here, local one, Hillcrest, has proven that council is invaluable in supporting its community in those times. And the people that have been recommended have definitely have the skills to continue that on.
Thank you. Councillor John.
I think when push comes to shove, you need the right people in the right places, and this is a very important role for both these ladies to take on. And credit to both of them for being put up for this. Hopefully we don't have to utilise their skills too much. But yes, well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Murphy, to close the debate.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 5.2 is a contract for the supply of electricity to unmetered street lighting. We have a recommendation there.
So moved.
Seconder.
Second.
Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, it was an exhaustive process in out of the two competing tenderers. We'll stick with the Royal Light, which is good.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Nothing further.
Any other comments or questions? I will ask Councillor Murphy to close the
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6, information. Item 6.1, workshops and briefings.
So moved. Second.
Councillor Perry and Murphy. Is that right? Councillor Perry.
That's an accurate description of what we did on the 14th of February.
Good to know. Councillor
Happy Valentine's Day to us. It's a community procedure, man.
Glad to hear that. Are there any other comments or questions? I'll ask Councillor Terry to close the debate.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion on those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? The motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.2 is the Mayor's monthly report for this month. Do you have any choice?
So moved.
Second. And Councillor Jarman and Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, you've been very busy, but I don't think it's an accurate record of the amount of work that you have been undertaking, and I think it's I think the community needs to understand the role that you do is probably one of those thankless ones, and that needs to be acknowledged.
Thank you. Councillor Jarman.
You totally agree. Nice to see that opening up dialogue with Mr. Hess and Mr. Ritchie about their ideas for what we can do to develop further for the community, parts of the port as well. So that was great. And yeah, well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to reiterate Councillor Murphy's comments, because that they are the meetings, or some of the meetings you've attended, that doesn't take into account the 24/7 thinking that your position at this particular time takes, and we thank you for it. You're doing a wonderful job. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? I'll ask Councillor Murphy to close the debate.
Consider closing.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.3 is the General Manager's report. General Manager, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councillor Murphy and Councillor Newborn. Councillor Murphy.
Yeah, the GM's obviously been very busy as well, man. He does a good job too.
Councillor Newborn.
One question for the GM, if I may. Can I have an update with the in-school enrolment? How they travelling?
Yeah, through you there. It's good to catch up with Rod and explained how their school's grown. They've got these 90 students, he said, now in their Devonport location here. And they're looking at opening a school in Burn in the very near future. It's certainly very committed to Devonport, and really, I think it's exceeded expectations in a short time that they've been.
Thank you. Big need for a school of that calibre in this area, so thanks very much. Nothing further.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Just further on to that, so the future plans are for in the Burnie area. Is that the campus? Is that the plan? Any further plans for Devonport?
It's my understanding to continue to grow and look
Yeah.
at our abilities to open a new campus.
Thank you.
Councillor Jarman.
Thank you. No, well done. Mr. Atkins, you met with Mayor and Councillor Perry, re variety and touch by Olivia. Inclusive children play spaces, always a good interest to a lot of people out there. Are we going to get an update soon on where we're at with that, or where we're going with that?
Yeah, through you, Ed. Yeah, it was a good opportunity to meet with those contacts. They've certainly got a lot of expertise in that area, and I think that information that we gathered through that process will probably feed into our budget discussions.
Excellent. Wonderful. Good news. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the General Manager?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, Councillor Wesley. Sorry.
If I could just ask the General Manager an update on the Devonport and Goliath incident.
Yes, through you, Mayor. Probably not a lot more to add than that last video update that I provided to councillors. So the focus now is how they've contained the area where the incident happened and addressed the environmental concerns. They're now focused on the salvage. They expect that to take several months, And, yeah, I haven't heard any further in regard to what the cause of the incident was. I understand there's a number of investigations that are ongoing.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Murphy, opposed.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.4 is the infrastructure and works report with a recommendation. Do I have a move?
So moved.
Councillor Jarman.
Second.
Thank you. And Councillor Nick. Councillor Jarman.
Just quickly, very excited always to see us putting in more. So this is at the Paranal Arts Centre, which is fantastic. The more we can do that, the better it is. I know it's costly in the first place, certainly save later on. And what an environmentally friendly council we're becoming. The other was, the Swift Rider, great name. So I hope a lot of people will get down there and let the kids get on it and enjoy it and use it. What a great thing and a lovely name. Really thought that was a great idea. Thank you. Swift Rider.
Councillor Murphy.
Thanks, Mayor. It's just worth noting, as it does there, it's good to see that we're entering into phase 3 of the capital works program for the local roads and community infrastructure program. So it's another $380,000 worth of much needed infrastructure upgrades that we'll receive. So a very positive. It's a very detailed report. It's been quite busy. So well done.
Thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. A good report. I just want to note that it appears that some of the parkland's been opened up today, the fenced off section. So the grass from the northern corner has been opened up on this side of the roundabout. So looking good and a little bit more freedom there. And in fact, the whole project looks like it's coming together nicely. But it's nice to have that open space, a little bit of open space there, a bit of grassland for those waiting for buses while the weather's good to sit on the grass. So good to see.
I gather I'm only happy today, is that correct? Sorry, the number of us. Are there any other comments? Councillor Ennis?
Yes, with the bridge over the Don River opening up, the pedestrian cycling bridge there, I'm sure a lot of people are really looking forward to the extension from Don to Leaf, just to complete that our little bit of the coastal pathway. It's been significant effort by our council to get it done, and it's fantastic, and people are really enjoying it.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, yes?
Yeah, to provide an update there on that.
Thank you.
I think construction is about to start. Harding's got mix. We've got the tender and we'll be starting in the next 2 to 3 weeks on that project.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Jarman, close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.5 is Development and Health Services report. There is a recommendation to receive and note that report. Do I have the lead, please?
So moved.
Councillor Levy, seconder.
Second.
Councillor Alexia, thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, another very detailed report. It's worth noting that in between December and January, nearly $10 million worth of building development applications of $10 million worth. It's a pretty good number for Devonport, and it shows that we're growing.
Thank you. Councillor Alexia.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, nothing further to add there.
Any comments or questions? I'll ask Councillor Murphy.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 6.6, Business Line Strategy 2017 to 22, Unified States Update.
So moved.
Councillor John.
Second.
Councillor Murphy. Councillor John.
Yes, always a little bit controversial sometimes, our science. You never always get it right. But gee, we've improved in the past 5 to 10 years. What we had and where we're at now is just getting so much better. Very interested in Action 7, which is the development and employment styling for major entrance markers. I think, you know, we're always going to be a city council that's within regional councils that border us so much. And it's going to be nice for us to have, very important, I think, to have a wow factor as people arrive in the area to see they've hit the destination that they need to come to, which is Devonport. So I can't wait till we get to that point. I know it's been a long time coming, but I understand there are processes in place that we're waiting for, and that makes sense. But really looking forward to getting to that point where we've got this, as I said, a wow factor of when people arrive, they know they've arrived here. So that would be great. And well done on all the other facilities, because it's not easy to do signage. People don't read signs, but it's great if they're there, because we can say, but it's there for you. And the more people can start to utilise these things, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Yes, Mayor, it's worth noting this is the final year of this particular strategy, and our review is well underway.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Oh.
Sorry.
Glasses, I think, Councillor Alexia. I apologise.
Thank you. I just wanted to be Councillor Jones comment on the project number 5 and section number 7 with the gateway to East Devonport and Devonport. It'd be nice to see, obviously the signage there, but something probably a little bit more welcoming for the tourists, especially into the gateway of East Devonport. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? I'll ask Councillor Dyer to close the debate.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? The motion is carried unanimously.
Excuse me, Mayor, just point out the screen, just having some technical issues. The minutes are being taken. It's not being displayed.
Okay, it's frozen. Thank you. Item 7 is section 23 committees, and we haven't had any of those since our last council meeting. And item 8 is a moving into closed session. Can I have a move?
So moved.
Second.
Comments?
No comment.
Nothing further, Mayor.
I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? The motion is carried unanimously, and with that, I declare the open section of our meeting for the February close at 6:07. Thank you to those in the gallery.